Welcome back to Lights, Camera, Whatever. My name is Ray, and thank you again. Remember, this is part 2. You got to go back and watch part 1. We're talking about the movie A Son. A Son, and that's S-U-N, not S-O-N. A Son. Now, I'm going to read the description very quickly. It is in the last episode, but just to recap. These uncanny tales reveal a world where individuals face the tragic consequences of social pressure, parental oppression, and family dysfunction. That is the description you will see on Netflix. If you go to Netflix, type the letter A and sun, like the sun in the sky, right? And it will show up. And it does have English subtitles. Now, this is part 2. First question. Let's jump into it. Okay, this is tough. Do you have a favorite child? Wow. Do you have a favorite child? Everybody does, guys. I know. It's a tough one. Do you have a favorite child? There's always going to be that parent that's going to post more pictures of this child online than the other child. I totally understand. I've asked a lot of students myself, like, why do you post this one over the other one? And they always like, Nobody can ever answer the question, right? It's just that some kids are more convenient than the other kid, but that doesn't mean give up on them. That just means that they have made it more convenient to deal with them. You know, like you always have like that one child who's like, oh, yeah, clean your room. He's like, okay, sure. And the other child like, clean your room. He's like, why? For what? Right? It's just people are different. You have to understand that people are different. This is just who they are, right? But don't necessarily judge them. But I mean, you have to actually know that one child is going to be better than the other child. One child's math is going to be better than the other child, right? One child's science and whatever, topic that is, whatever it may have, they're going to be different, right? But do you have a favorite child? Don't necessarily blame yourself for having a favorite child. Don't feel guilty about it. But you do need to know that balance is necessary. You have to know that. You can't, because kids are very, very smart. They know, and as they get older, it gets worse. Right? I'm going to say, oh, you like this child anyway, so whatever. I just do my things. You've made it. When a child knows that you've chosen the other child, you got to be careful as a parent because that could backlash. That could backfire, right? Because you've made it so visible that the child is probably 4 or 5. He's just like, well, okay, he gets more food or he gets more freedom and I'm getting, always yelled at. I might make the same mistake as my sibling, but I'm immediately yelled at. And the other sibling is like, okay, it's fine, don't worry. And then if I do the same thing, it's like, what are you doing? What's your problem? Go to your room. So do you have a favorite child? So this is a very interesting question that you need to kind of ask yourself. The next one is, how do we survive if we're not the favorite child? Wow, I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of movies that we saw in the States, right, where, it's very true. Like, if you know as a child, now I'm talking to the child, and you could be the adult too. You could be an adult who was the child. What if you're not the favorite child and your parent? This is why I say, okay, this is because we're in Asia, guys. We're in Asia, and this probably happens around the world, right? The parent is like, oh, why can't you be a doctor like your brother, right? Like, why can't you be a PhD student at MIT with flying colors, and why can't you save the world like your brother, right? Like, they will throw any crazy thing on you just to compare. And guys, I have to tell you, parents are parents. They just want the best for you, but that doesn't mean you have to accept it. You're going to have to grow some fortitude or some concrete wall to emotionally block this. So these helicopter parents and dinosaur parents, they can't change. And they won't change until you become silent. And then they're going to blame you for that, right? So the thing is, like, people don't change. You're not going to change someone who's been a certain way for 30, 40 years, no matter how much you would like them to change, right? It's just not going to happen, right? So how do you survive? Let me tell you, you just survive and do your thing. But I feel sorry for the parents. If you feel like you're getting no love from your parents, I feel sorry for the parents. But honestly, open communication, the big C word, not love, C word, is very, very applicable, can be applied. It's very, very applicable to this situation. You got to talk to the parents and say, hey, I don't really like how you're giving more attention to him and to me, and you're always judging me for not being the same person. I don't like that. Guys, let's stop talking to our friends. Let's stop posting online. Let's open the communication channels and be open to talk about it, because if you can't talk about it, the situation is possibly never, ever, ever going to change. Trust me. The next one is about a story called Sima Guang. I hope I pronounced that right. My question is called Sima Guang, Hi, Where Are You? Now, original story is that some kids were out playing hide and seek, right? And they were with Sima Guang. And Sima Guang found the child, the missing child in the water, right? But in the movie, they use it in a more metaphorical way, right? So like I said, I can't spoil the movie, but it's called Hi, Where Are You? Right? I don't want to spoil the movie or how they use it in the movie. I just want to talk about this. It's called Hi, Where Are You? Right? Now, why I say hi, where are you? Guys, I think inside of us internally, there is a lot of answers inside of us that we have already. But do we have because guys, we are so distracted. This is a world of, we are, let me be clear. We are amazingly distracted right now. When is the last time you could go home and just sit down and think about your life without even the stress of an email, the stress of a notification, the stress of how many views, how many likes you got, if someone has contacted you, if someone has expressed their love today? Have you expressed your love today? Have you been a good coworker today? Were you a wonderful daughter this week? Were you a good wife or husband the last month? Have you ever just sat down and just was like, who am I? And when I say where are you, I'm thinking, where is that inner child that's in you? Right? Where is that inner winner? Right? Let's talk about the inner winner inside of you, the person that's winning. Because there is a winner inside of you, but it might be on the surface. It might be the loser, right? The loser is judged. The loser is decomposed and broken apart, decompartmentalized, mentally, physically, spiritually. But where are you? You got to find it. Right? Because the longer that person is on the inside, that it gets comfortable. It's kind of warm in there, right? It's kind of warm and comfortable, especially in the wintertime here in Taiwan. It's a nice, comfortable place. Got your Muji blanket, and they just stay in there. They're just there, right? But where are you? Because are you hibernating? Are you like a bear? Are you like a polar bear? The thing is, like, you got to come out, right? If the person is inside of you, right, then you can be that person because they are inside of you. Your body has created this person, this inner winner, right? So as you're going out there, hide and seek from yourself, right? So basically, you're in the world, you're hiding from yourself. You're not hiding from anybody. You're hiding from yourself, right? So you're hidden, okay, but you need to go seek and find that inner winner and bring them out into this world and just win. Now remember, it's very simple. Guys, we don't lose. We either win or we learn, right? We don't lose. We win or we learn. There's no losing in this world. There's no losing, right? Bring the inner winner out. Where are you? Next one is, whose child is it when the problem surfaces? Guys, so many times in the movie when something happens, right, it's like your son. It could be like, okay, let me give you an example. It could be like you and your partner, your husband or wife, and something has happened. It's like your son, your daughter, right? Guys, we got to stop this. You got to stop this because that's your child too. Every time something happens, and this is very terrible, like when a child is like has some medical condition or some type of behavior, they say, oh, that's on your side. That's on your lineage. That's on your blood. My family over here, we don't do that. Guys, we have to stop this. You guys have made this child together. And if the person is counting points and pointing at you, we got to talk about another episode, counting points. When they're pointing at you saying like, hey, why is he bad at math? It must be your side. Or why is he not good in sports? He must be on your side. Why is he so angry? Well, if it's angry, that means there's a personality. Like you've trained a child to be like that. But if it's kind of something that has to be trained over time, that has to be kind of molded into, but you're blaming your partner, guys, you will suffer in your relationship. And first of all, this is definitely not the person you need to be with. And don't judge yourself for leaving relationships if they're not the one, please. But when you're pointing at the other partner, when the problem happens, right, and you're saying like, oh, like whose child is this when the problem surfaces? Don't do this, guy. This is totally unfair to say like, oh, like he has breathing problems. It must be from your side, right? Or he has this type of situation. Like he his heart has problems. It must be from you. Can't do that, guys. God has made his choice. The child is who he is, his physical condition, his mental condition, that is who he is. As parents, you got to come together and find a way to support this child in the best way possible. So stop pointing the finger as soon as a child does something wrong. Like, oh, it's your child. No, it's your child. Don't do that. Next one. Is it your responsibility to take care of your sibling's child? If something happened to your sibling and you can no longer take care of this child, maybe you are no longer here, right? Or but we're here. So you're talking about your siblings. So they are no longer here. I have to say absolutely yes. I am not about to let my niece go out there into the world, because maybe our parents, right, me and my sister's parents, are not here anymore, and the niece has grown up. So if my niece has nothing and no one, are you literally just going to let her just like be like no help? So for me, remember, this is teacher Ray, in Chinese Ray Lao Shi. This is Ray Lao Shi. This is teacher Ray. This is my perspective. I am not encouraging you. But if your brother or sister has a child and there's literally no one else, no one to take care of the child. These are things from the movie. I'm not going to say which character, which. You got to go watch it. A Sun, Netflix, S-U-N, not S-O-N. This is personally, I would have to say, if something happened to my sisters, or one of my sisters, and the child is still young, my niece or my nephew, absolutely, yeah, it is your responsibility, right? It's your responsibility. You should help out in the best way. I'm not saying give them $1 million, but you should help out in the best way possible so they have the basic necessities to live, right? At least until they get on their feet, to the golden age they can go by themselves. Now, next one is, how should we send our loved ones to the next stage? This is a sensitive one. My mom has talked to me several times. She's like, oh, like you should cremate me and put me like in the nature near the ocean. I don't want to talk about this with my parent, but we have to grow up, right? So how should we send our ones? Because sometimes it's like underground. Like in the States, we have cemeteries, but in Asia, there's not a lot of space. So they cremate, right? And they put it into an urn, and then they put it into a place that you have to pay like a fee to take care of. But in Asia, like Hong Kong and Taiwan, if you have like a whole wow, you must be super rich. Have a whole area to put like, the everything. You congratulations, you're very wealthy. But how should we send our loved ones to the next stage? I would. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know, because with the space on Earth, I was thinking like, what if we use like trees, like we planted it near like trees, or we use like, I've seen some news where they're like can decompose the body under a tree or something like that, or decompose it and give it back to the earth. I honestly don't know. But cremation does sound like, but I don't know, because sometimes it could like on my license in the States, I'm an organ donor. Right, so it says organ donor on my license. So I that's my choice. You do whatever you want. Don't feel guilty, because I'm an organ donor. It says it on my Georgia license from the States. So whatever process happens after that, I one day will talk to my kids about that. One day it will be in my will or my trust to my kids to explain the process. But yes, that's I think we should send them through however way the person would like to go. But if it's organ donor on the license, you got to make a choice. Next one, it says, do we really know our kids? No, we don't. Nobody knows their kids like that. And you can go to as many tea parties and afternoon teas as you want. You don't know what your child is thinking. No idea. I'm telling you right now, I wish. Yeah, dude, you talking about Oscars and Grammys? These kids are the Oscar winners. I don't care what you say. You could forget about Brad Pitt, Denzel, and whoever won. These kids, they know you, and they know exactly how to act in front of you. I mean, like, they know exactly how to act until it gets to the point where they become a little bit, not so clear, and you start to read them. If you're lucky enough for that to happen, congratulations. But some kids really become really professional actors. Did we really know our kids? I say no, we don't. But could we know them? Yes, we can. And that's why I raised the question. Stop asking the question like, hey, how was school? This question sucks, right? Start asking some really interesting questions. Like, okay, if I was a poster on the wall in your classroom, what would I see today? Right? That's something more interesting, right? Like, like if the teacher could teach a different lesson today, what type of lesson would they teach? Right? Or what was the hardest question on the test that you would ask mom and dad? That's the stuff. Because I'm telling you guys, psychologically, it's been proven. How was your day? Yeah. It's the same for you. How was work? You don't want to talk about it. Guys, they're the same as us. We're all working. So when someone says, how was work? You're like, yeah. The same for them. How was school? Yeah. So ask them something else. If the day could go your way, how would it go? Right? Oh, if you could have your favorite meal at lunch, what would you eat? Be creative, guys. Stop being lazy. Don't be lazy. Oh, how was school? Oh, bujang. Okay, you don't want to talk. Okay, whatever. I won't ask you questions ever again. This kind of childish behavior as an adult has to cease, not stop, cease. That means completely. So do you really know your kids? You probably don't. Do you give up? We don't know, because in the movie, right, the parents did their best. I guess they did their best. I don't know. You got to watch it yourself. But this is a movie of a reflection of our lifestyle, right? We don't really know our kids, and then they do something happens, and then we say it's my fault, right? Now, do you really know your kids? Now, we'll go a little bit on the light side, and I'll tell you about me. It says, how many times will you take a driver test? I even typed the grammar. Let me type my grammar. My grammar is bad. How many times will you take a driver test before you give up? Oh, man. Wow. I don't know. Let's see how many times I've taken in the States. I think I took the test like once in the States, right? And don't tell anybody, because like in the States, you always have like that brother or sister. You know, they let you drive a little bit. You know, like you're not supposed to, because in the States, you can drive at 15 with their permit. But I think you're supposed to drive with someone in the car. And then I think at 18, you can drive by yourself. Okay, guys, I know this is don't tell anybody. Don't tell my mom. I think my sister let me practice driving. My mom is definitely going to watch this podcast. I think my sister let me practice driving when I was like 14 or something. And my neighbor, I'm going to put your name out there, Jeremy. I know you're going to, you're in trouble now. He let me drive his car a couple times, but I became a really good driver. But let me tell you the funny part about this is, right, because I'm a really, really good driver. Actually, I'm a really, really patient driver. But when I got to Taiwan, I couldn't pass the test. I failed the test 3 times, right? And I've been driving in the States for like over 10 years. And I've gotten hit from the back. My car was totaled. Let me tell you, my car was totaled the day before my college graduation, guys. I wouldn't even be here right now. Thank God for that. My car was totaled the day before my college graduation. That's how crazy it is. That's why I say fate is fate. And I'm talking about completely total. But I'm a great driver. I've never hit anybody in the car. I've been hit, right? But I've never hit anybody in the car. But when I get to Taiwan, I failed it 3 times. So I was like, oh man, this is, because Taiwan has they have a connection with like 3 states in the United States, right? Where you can just directly transfer the license. Georgia's not one. Taiwan, please work on that. I could just get a license here, but I do have the option to have an IDL. It's called an International Driver's License. So that is an option, right? So I probably would say twice, and I just give up. But then once I found out about the International Driver's License, I was like, forget it. But it's a little bit annoying because you have to renew every year. So you got to go back to the States at least once a year to get it renewed. It's a very simple process, right? Okay, last 2 questions, guys. This is interesting. Is prison the best way to fix criminals? Guys, this is crazy because I saw the jails in like Sweden and Norway. I'm super jealous. If you look at the jails like in the States, and we're not even going to talk about Latin America, man, wow. I got respect for these guys. In Philippines, I got pure respect for these guys. Have you seen the jails in like Sweden? God, they live better than some people who have full-time jobs, right? But why I say is this the best way is because think about it, right? You go to jail, you're in jail, right? You get food, you get playtime, you get to play basketball, you get to go to the library, you get to go to church. Sometimes it might be a concert. You get leisure time. Is that really punishing people? And it is some instances in the States where some people intentionally wanted to go to jail because they couldn't afford life and they knew what was inside. From a taxpayer perspective, that hurts, right? It's like, wait, like you just going to jail because you give up? Like you like some guy literally intentionally went to the bank and robbed the bank like $1 just to go to jail, right? It was crazy. I forgot the full story. But yeah, some people, because the system, like when you go in there, you are taken care of fully. You are just taken care of. Like that's what they do. So is prison the best? I think there should be some psychological training. Not just putting them in a box and then hanging out with a bunch of other criminals who probably maybe way worse than them or way less than them. I think like that just creates another society for them to blend in, right? I think there should be some psychological, spiritual training in there to help them fix themselves. I think just putting them in a box, putting them in a place, putting them in a constrained location, I don't know if that's the best way. to really help them because they're in there making friends, right? They're in there living a life. I think, yeah, you can even beat them or break them. I don't know. So that's a really interesting question, right? Is prison the best way to fix criminals? Now, the very, very last one. How would you stop your son from hanging out with the wrong people? It's kind of similar to the other one. I would literally just have to say, like, would you move? Would you relocate? Because maybe you don't have the money to relocate, right? Maybe change the schools. Yeah, that's a good idea. But how would you stop your son? I didn't put daughter here. Sorry about that. How would you stop your son or daughter hanging out with the wrong people? I would have to talk to them and ask them, like, what are some of the reasons why you're hanging out with this person? Why are they making you so happy to be with them? And do you like doing bad things? Do you like hurting people's feelings? Do you like damaging property? Like, do you like this? Like, is this the type of person you are? Conversation, communication can solve a lot of things, people. Trust me. There is no answer to this. I'm just throwing these questions out there. I gotta hear your opinion. So how would you stop your son or daughter from doing something? I gotta know your opinion, guys. Leave those. Don't be afraid to leave the comments, right? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So first of all, thank you guys for listening to Lights, Camera, Whatever. I honestly have to say, I have to express my gratitude. Thank you. But I would be more grateful if you leave your comments and press like. It takes a couple seconds. Just a couple seconds. Press that button. Thank you guys for listening to part 2 for A-Sun, A-S-U-N. Part 2 of the podcast for this movie. Go back to part 1, and I will see you guys in the next one. And we're going to keep talking about the lights, camera, and whatever. Thank you guys. Thank you.